I think you don't have your mic on. Wait, there you go.
There we go. Apologies about that. Sorry, normally what happens is the intro video plays and it mutes you whilst you're but for some reason it must have muted me whilst I was slurping my tea. But regardless, that's the best way to start a show, I always feel. Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining this mess of a program. Today, what do we have for you? Well, as ever, we have an incredibly impressive Frenchman standing right next to me, sort of, virtually speaking. It's Leo. Hello, Leo. How have you been?
Hey, Daniel, how are you?
Oh,
with that superb introduction.
Anyway, yes, mime is very funny, I hear. But again, you're French, you know. Right, okay, let's talk about the European soccer show. All the things to do with soccer we're showing sort of in European football. And we're going to start with the Premier League. Last week was a bit of a damp squib. This week, my goodness, there's a lot of talking points, and those points will be talked about right now. So on Saturday, West Ham United's incredible return to form continues as they defeated Sunderland 3-1 with all their goals coming in the first half. Burnley continued Thomas Frank's misery at Spurs. There was a 2-2 draw there at Burnley. Fulham came from behind to defeat Brighton 2-1 with yet another goal from Harry Wilson in stoppage time. Manchester City had a fairly serene 2-0 victory against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Both goals coming in the first half there for Mamouche and Antoine Semenyo. Possibly game of the weekend, second place perhaps. Bournemouth 3, Liverpool 2, a winning goal in the 5th minute of stoppage time there. Fantastic game. And then on Sunday, Nottingham Forest had a really surprise victory at Brentford. Brentford with a superb home record, losing to Forest 2-0. Crystal Palace's damning run in the last sort of 7 or 8 weeks continues as they lost at home 3-1 against Chelsea. Newcastle United 0, Aston Villa 2. Villa clawing themselves back into the title race, no matter what Unai Emery says. And the game of the weekend, actually, Arsenal 2, Manchester United 3. My goodness, what a performance. Give Michael Carrick the job full time, they cry. Or will they? Let's start with that, shall we? So you put in the notes, can Arsenal lose everything? Well, they can certainly lose this match. And I messaged you at the time saying Manchester United only had, I believe, 3 shots on target, 2 of which were absolute worldies. And yet it didn't feel like an unfair result because Arsenal didn't actually create that much for themselves either. So do you think this was a deserved victory or one of those where like it could go either way sort of thing?
Yeah, I think it was a deserved victory for Manchester United. As you mentioned, they have scored some incredible goals, especially Dorgu's. What a hit. Impressive. Talking about Arsenal, they now have picked up just 2 points from their last 3 games, which is obviously not enough to compete for the title for now. And most importantly, they have only scored 2 goals. So yesterday against Manchester United, I really do think there is a problem in attack for this team. Hopefully for them, they are genius at set pieces, but they need to find other ways to score because.
But sorry to jump in here, but that's been the story of their season, though. I mean, it's been often commented about the fact that they, at several points throughout the season, they have really struggled to create anything in open play and have relied on set pieces. But up until now, they've still managed to get results, which has been the big difference.
Yeah.
It just happens to be this time they played against a team who've had 3 shots to target, 3 goals from an XG of, I think it was 0.7. You know, so it is quite an extreme circumstance. But still, like this was always going to happen at some point.
Yeah, you're right. But I think for a team wanting to in chase of the Premier League title, they absolutely need to find other ways to score, because if you just rely on your strength, the day this strength goes out, you need to have the ability to find other ways to win these games. If you remember last week, if they had won against Nottingham Forest, they could have been 9 points clear from Manchester City and Aston Villa. And 1 week later, they are now just 4 points ahead of these two teams. So they will need to find some solutions.
That's fair. I suppose the Forest one was a particularly disappointing one as like an opportunity. But Matt, this one seems a bit sort of a chaotic sort of game where it could have gone either way. Although we should probably point out over the last 6 matches, Arsenal still have the second best form in the league. They have actually in the last 6 matches they've gained 2 points on Manchester City or extended their lead by 2 points over Manchester City. As you say, up to 4 points now. Villa are clawed the way back in themselves. They're still 4 points behind, level with Manchester City. But Manchester United, the best form in the league, 12 points over the last 6 games. That includes 2 draws from Darren Fletcher. That is 2 victories for Michael Carrick. Of course, the thing is, there is the talk now about, wow, what a great job he's doing. Potentially, he's in the running for the job permanently. But of course, this is a road they've walked down before, Manchester United, when they had Solskjaer as their interim boss, and he did so well they gave him the job. So, do you think this is just one of those things of like, first of all, Manchester United have always performed better against teams they're not expected to have possession against, so therefore the counter-attacking thing works. But secondly, do you think this is just the shackles being thrown off of Amorim and what he was trying to do?
I couldn't really predict the future of Manchester United and Michael Carrick, but the thing is that we can note that yesterday it was like a show of strength from them, because beating Arsenal at the Emirates, I think it's the first time this season, after being behind on the score sheet, because just for those who haven't seen the game, Arsenal scored first, then Manchester United scored twice, then
I'll jump in there. Absolutely, it's the first time this season that Arsenal have taken a lead and not won,
which is impressive.
Incredible.
Both for Arsenal and Manchester United, because it says a lot of the regularity of Arsenal and their power at home and away, of course, because they are league leaders. But impressive.
But like I said, I mentioned sort of before, are we at risk of over-analysing this, though? Because the first Manchester United goal was a Zubimendi error, who basically gave the ball to Brian Mbeumo 30 yards from goal. He could just run it and score. And then there were 2 world-class goals. It's the sort of thing that you can't quite control. So are we at risk of sort of overthinking this? Just one of those games?
I think if it was just the case for that game, we could have indeed overthinking it. But these past weeks, even in December and at the end of November, we've mentioned that Arsenal struggled to win some games, some easy games. So it's not the first time they lose points after.
That's a good point. After a couple of draws.
So,
right.
So.
Sorry.
Yeah. Go on.
No, I was going to say, of course, Manchester City won their first game of the year in the league, beating Wolves 2-0. So again, sort of not all like I say, over the last 6 games, Arsenal having actually extended their lead by 4 points. Yeah, it's half glass full sort of thing, like glass half full rather. You know, it's like it could have been 9. It's currently 4, but it is a league. And of course, this is why you have such a league, right? So therefore, you are allowed slip-ups. Hypothetically, if they lose next week, yes, you could say like, they're stumbling, they're failing, but also they have this gap. They're allowed to do this.
Yeah, the last thing we can say on Arsenal is that the main danger for them is themselves, because we saw it last season, we saw it 2 seasons ago. They had everything it takes to win the title, but they lose it because of themselves. So maybe 3rd in a row. I don't expect them to do it, but
quick question: out of all the teams in the league, which team do you think has the worst form over the last 6 matches? Which team has picked up the fewest points in the last 6?
In the last 6,
yeah,
I would have said Burnley. Burnley have
Burnley picked up 4 points, 4 draws.
Liverpool, maybe.
No, oh no, Liverpool have had a really good run. Well, until this week. Crystal Palace have only picked up 2 points in the last 6 games, and currently sit 15th. The reason I bring this up is because another wonderful victory for West Ham United. They're second in a row in the league, third in a row in all competitions. Yeah, excellent goals from Somerville, Bowen, Fernandez. West Ham. So, but of course, Nottingham Forest then beat Brentford the next day. But the reason I bring this up is because Wolverhampton Wanderers, everyone seems to accept that they've gone, despite that they sort of have some form. Now, Burnley seem incapable of winning, even though they've had fairly decent results recently. They're still 10 points from safety. West Ham are 5 points behind Nottingham Forest, but also 5 points behind Nottingham Forest and Leeds United. But Crystal Palace and Tottenham Hotspur are 8 points ahead of West Ham, and Crystal Palace have been plummeting. So are Crystal Palace at risk? It's 8 points, absolutely. But in the last 6 games, West Ham have gained 5 points to them. So if that happens again, they're within a victory.
I don't really know if they are at risk, but the thing is that which is certain is that they are now looking more at the bottom of the table than at the top, because as you mentioned, they are now 8 points, only 8 points clear of the relegation zone. They will play European football in the second part of the season. They have lost Marc Guéhi. They will certainly lost Jean-Philippe Mateta. I saw Nottingham Forest would like to submit a bid for.
I mean, he was linked with Juventus and Aston Villa. Now it's announced that Aston Villa seem to be in the market, almost close to completing Tammy Abraham's transfer. So it does suggest that Juventus are front runners if they match the valuation.
But yeah, the form of Crystal Palace isn't positive at all. So they will need to win something, because it's difficult for them to go there.
Yeah. Oh, hey, my goodness! Hello, Sean. He's come to bask in the glory of Manchester United defeating Arsenal, and he's missed the section. He's missed it. Oh, what a shame for Manchester United.
I'm sitting at the airport at Heathrow. I just wanted to jump on and say, as I get ready to go to the Real Madrid match on Wednesday night, that we came to London and we smashed them. So we took care of business.
Sean, as a thought experiment, because Leah and I were just talking about this, the last couple of results were being so impressive against Manchester City and Arsenal, the top two. Do you lay this basically as this success at the feet of Michael Carrick, or do you think this is more of a case of just throwing off the shackles of Ruben Amorim's ideas? And does this lead anything into potentially Michael Carrick getting the position full time?
I think it's a mix of both. Obviously, I think they definitely needed something after this. A lot of those excuses that he was making, that, we don't have game changers off the bench. We don't have this. Kobe Mainoo can't play next to, Casemiro and everything. I mean, those all look like they're, garbage excuses at this point. And they've been playing, on the front foot and at times, and then countering. So it's all been, I think they've been freed from that. They do have talent as well, too. Just little tweaks. Dorgu's up the pitch and scoring goals now. Cunha coming up the bench and scoring goals. So just little tweaks. I think those 2 wins are great, but, what are they going to do against teams like, Fulham this weekend? They got to keep it going. If they go out and smash Fulham 5-0, Sunday, maybe we start talking about stuff. But I think nothing will be decided with Carrick until the end of the season at this point. I mean, I know they said that, and they did it with Ole after they beat PSG in the Champions League, and they kind of just could have waited until the end of the year, because at that point he had the job anyway, right? So I think they just need to see how everything is going to go. But at this point now, if they're going to play like this the rest of the season, he's got to definitely be in for the job. So,
well, of course, again, something else we were talking about, the fact that Manchester United, this is actually form for them in regards to the last several years. They're facing a team where they could actually sit back and counterattack and give possession to the other team. they actually have consistently performed in those kind of matches. The problem being is that they've really suffered when trying to dominate matches and not having that clear tactical identity. So, like you say, sort of facing Fulham will be an interesting test of that theory.
Yeah, and you got to look. I'm just going to pull up their schedule here for the next 5 matches because they have and
They
they've
have
been
Fulham, Tottenham, West Ham United, Everton, and Crystal Palace.
There you go. So 3 of the 5 are relegated, threatened teams.
Yeah.
And Crystal Palace has been the worst team in the league over the last 8 matches. So that guy, I don't understand how he's. If Crystal Palace was smart, they would get rid of him tomorrow because he doesn't want to be there. And there's a lot of stuff going on there. But yeah, look, I mean, if they go and they win, if they get 13 out of 15, first of all, I think they cement top 4 and. Once again, I think people sometimes have been, worried about this top 4 thing. It's top 5 because there's no chance with the teams that are going to, the 5 teams in the Champions League might all be inside the top 8 in a bye. I mean, Aston Villa and Nottingham Forest are probably going to go deep into the Europa League. There's no chance that another league other than them is going to pass them to get, into that. Top 2 spots where we're going to get 5. So really just need top 5 now. It's so, I was looking at it's basically between Chelsea, United, and Liverpool. I think, maybe Newcastle, but they didn't look great as for those 3 spots. So, 2 teams for 3 spots for the Champions League. And then, of course, if Tottenham, happens to win the Champions League, which no chance. But, we've seen stranger things. Actually, they've been playing well in the Champions League. They're just really bad in the Premier League. Then all of a sudden it's 6 teams. So, but look,
it's interesting you bring that up because before we move on from the Premier League, because of course Manchester United changing their manager, Chelsea changing their manager, and they've had a positive bounce. Manchester United winning the last 2, undefeated in 7 in the league, I think it is now. Although that also included a couple from Amorim. Chelsea won a couple in a row. Liverpool are now 5 games without a win, 4 draws followed by a loss, so 4 points from the last 5 games. You do worry about Arne Slot because, if they turn it around, they are still within touch distance because Manchester United are 4th on 38 points, Chelsea have 37, Liverpool have 36. So yeah, it does seem 2 of those 3 will go into the Champions League. But there could be dire consequences for Arne Slot if it isn't Liverpool because the amount of money they've invested, they kind of have to. They're the only team that has to make it this year.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Leo.
Yeah, I think Sean raised a good question. The idea is which European competition will Liverpool play on next season if they play European football next season because they are currently 6th in the league. 2 points behind Manchester United, which are 4th in the table. But whoever play their defensive problems and their state of form is currently really bad because they lost to Bournemouth this weekend. But before that, they had like 4 or 5 draws in a row, I think. So yeah, everything is bad for Liverpool at the moment.
And the last thing before we go, probably just a word again on Thomas Frank. Again, another insipid performance from the Spurs, relying on centre-backs to score their goals. We should point out that the next fixtures are, I believe it's Manchester United, Manchester City, Arsenal and Newcastle. So it gets even worse for Spurs. Oh, and of course, watch out for the next set of fixtures because I believe Crystal Palace, is it Crystal Palace against Nottingham Forest?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that could be, if Nottingham Forest win that, they will be level with Palace on points. Oh, no, West Ham against Crystal Palace. No, I've confused myself. Ignore me.
Yes.
Right. We do need to move on, though, because it's been 20 minutes. We've been all over England, sadly. Right. So since we got Sean here and you're off to watch Real Madrid, shall we just skip to La Liga? La Liga seems like a good spot to chat while Sean's off to the Bernabeu. So, first of all, a shock results for the relegated or relegation-threatened sides. On Friday, Levante defeated Elche 3-2 with the winning goal coming in the 6th minute of stoppage time to snatch the victory there for Levante. On Saturday, again, threatened Osasuna, had a great victory, 3-1 at Rayo Vallecano, a couple of goals in stoppage time there to seal the win. Similar for Valencia. Valencia make it 2 wins on the bounce, defeating a very impressive Espanyol side. Valencia had the lead twice, but relied on a Ramazani penalty in the 4th minute of stoppage time to snatch the victory there. Sevilla came from a goal down to defeat Athletic Club 2-1. Real Madrid had an impressive and solid 2-0 victory at Villarreal, both goals coming from Mbappe in the second half. And on Sunday, Atletico defeated Mallorca 3-0. Barcelona defeated Real Oviedo 3-0. Sociedad, another impressive victory over Celta Vigo this time, winning 3-1 despite having a man sent off in the first half. And Alaves defeated Real Betis 2-1. So, first of all, a word on Real Madrid. Again, sort of like a stodgy start to the post-Alonso reign. But this was actually a very impressive victory. It was very controlled. They limited Villarreal to just 1 shot on target. And eventually the quality came through.
Yeah, they needed this win to keep the title race on with Barcelona. And Villarreal, they needed it to keep the Champions League kind of dream alive after they lost on last week. But yeah, Villarreal are going through a difficult spell. They now have lost Juan Foyth for the remainder of the season. Marcelino has announced. So it's a difficult time for them, even if they still have a game in hand against Levante, which are now 19th in the league. Concerning Real Madrid, I have a question for both of you. What did you think about Mbappe's Panenka and Brahim Diaz thing? No, so in my opinion, it was so disrespectful.
Sean, do you have an opinion?
Manager Mbappe, you mean the guy pulling the strings at Real Madrid? Yes. I don't know. I my thing with Real Madrid is I think, after, they lose in the Super Cup and whatever. I mean, that game could have gone either way. And, it was a tough game, but, they lose in that Copa del Rey match and just everybody had lost, I think the players were starting to rebel, before all this stuff happened. And then that was just too much, Mbappe publicly. But, when you look at what's going on here now with them, especially in this match here on Wednesday night, if they win that and they finish the top 3 in the Champions League table, and then you kind of look at what their form is in the league, they don't have to play in the playoff. So they're only going to be playing in the league at that point. Barcelona right now sits outside. They're in 9th. So, Barcelona has to play, if they're still in, they're going to have to play all these kind of extra matches here. And Real Madrid has a little bit of a decent run in the schedule. So they could be set up here to maybe, you look up in 6 weeks and maybe they're up by 5 points in La Liga or 3 points or something like this. And I think, if they can get their noses back ahead after where they were maybe a month ago, I mean, you look, that was 7 points back. So, the league is, obviously the league and the Champions League, the other cups, whatever, that's not that big of a deal for them. The league and the Champions League are huge. So I think they're set up to be in both of those races.
Well, yeah, of course, the 5th win in a row for Real Madrid in La Liga. And they stay 1 point behind Barcelona, who, again, had a nice straightforward victory over Real Oviedo, although they did have to be patient. Their 3 goals coming in the second half through Dani Olmo, Rafinha and Lamine Yamal. Did you see any of this, Leo? It was fairly I was going to say pedestrian. It was a fairly easy victory eventually.
Yeah, I don't think it wasn't Barca's most convincing win of the season, especially in the first half. But it was extremely important because, as Sean mentioned, Barcelona are staying up and leaders of La Liga, so they needed this win. Lamine Yamal, I don't know if you saw it, it scored a sensational goal, the third one in the game. It was also important for Dani Olmo to prove that he can be here and be at the level of Barcelona with the injury of Pedri, who will be out for a month with Barcelona. So it's a positive victory, even though it wasn't the best for Barcelona this season.
Yeah, and but possibly. So the two most impressive results, or the most significant results this weekend, let's talk about Real Sociedad beating Celta Vigo, who again having a wonderful season this time around. That is Real Sociedad's third victory on the bounce. That is 5 matches undefeated. So it feels like finally they're putting the fear of relegation behind them, and are now. I mean, they're what are they? So they're 8th, but only 6 points ahead of relegation, which is insane. The relegation battle in Spain. But they're also now looking potentially at European football. So credit should go to Sociedad, who have picked 3 wins on the bounce and are now looking up rather than down.
Yeah, and credit to Pellegrino Matarazzo, who arrived at Real Sociedad back in December. He has now won 4 of his 5 first games at the helm of Sociedad. This is impressive because Real Sociedad played against Atletico, they played against Barcelona, and they played against inform Celta Vigo. So impressive wins. As you said, they are now 8th in the league, 5 points behind Real Betis, who sits currently 6th in the table. So the rise to in the table is impressive.
I have a quick aside about Pellegrino. We attended the same university, so he was a couple years younger than me. But I ran the intramural football there at Columbia University, and also worked all the matches. So when he was playing at Columbia, I was always there watching him. So he's my boy, man. He's doing a real good job.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. And it's never easy to change because he was, for those who don't know, he was working in Bundesliga before coming to La Liga. He was at Hoffenheim, if I'm not mistaken. So now he's doing a terrific job at Sociedad.
I Daniel, just real quick, just wanted to jump in. I got to go catch my flight, but I just wanted to come on and just say hi to everybody. Now that I'm on actual your time over here, and I can see normal time in the morning, but I just wanted to say good job, and I'll keep watching as I'm getting on the flight. So
so it's lovely having you, lovely seeing you. Also, the first I've seen you since the haircut. Well. It's good to know that you took inspiration from me.
Took care of it. Yeah. I wanted to be like Daniel, so I took care of all my hair.
There are the 3 steps of the baldness here.
Yeah. Mine will be back like this in about a week, but we'll see. So
okay,
all right.
Well, have a lovely.
I'll see you guys.
Have a safe flight, Sean.
Okay, I'll see you.
Goodbye.
As Sean departs, the last word should go to Valencia. 2 wins on the bounce, both in the last minute, both incredibly dramatic. Valencia finding not only a bit of luck, but also real fight and determination. They did throw the lead away twice, but again, this is against an impressive Espanyol side. 2 victories in a row, both coming in stoppage time. That speaks a lot about the determination for them to get out of this mess.
Yeah, that's right. Valencia, they make me feel about like a team that refuses to die, because we are obviously talking about a historic Spanish club that has been through a serious crisis of financial problems with the fans for several months, but they just want to stay in La Liga, and now they are only 2 points ahead of the relegation zone, but these 2 wins and 7 points out of 9 over the last 3 games.
Mm.
They are vital for them. So
Yeah,
great.
genuinely, everybody
Great.
keep an eye on this relegation battle, because between
Yeah.
Osasuna in 9th place and Getafe in 18th in the relegation spot are only 4 points.
Yeah.
4 points separating that many teams. That's astonishing. Right, yes, we should go to Serie A. Otherwise, this show's going to run forever. So, Serie A, oh my goodness, again, some incredible storylines happening. On Friday, bottom of the table, Pisa took a 2-goal lead at Internazionale at the San Siro. Both goals coming from Moreo. But before halftime, Inter had taken the lead through a Zielinski penalty, Lautaro Martinez and Esposito in stoppage time first half, taking a 3-2 lead into the halftime, and then ended winning 6-2 with further goals from DiMarco, Boni, and Mkhitaryan. Speaking of 6, Como got 6 goals against Torino. Torino, who are again plummeting towards trouble. Another impressive victory there for Como. Fiorentina couldn't continue their good form. They lost at home against Cagliari, who have really turned it around themselves. And then there's also a Lecce and Lazio 0-0. And then on Sunday, Sassuolo defeated Cremonese 1-0. Cremonese might also be in trouble. Atalanta's return to the top half continues. 4-0 victory over Parma. 2 goals in the first, 2 goals in the second. One of the games of the weekend, Genoa 3, Bologna 2. Genoa actually came from 2 goals down to win this game. Bologna took the lead through Lewis Ferguson and an Otoa own goal. Led 2-0 at halftime, but then got Skorupski was sent off with about 30 minutes to play. So in the space of 30 minutes, Genoa clawed it back with Junior Messias scoring the winner in stoppage time.
And what a winner. I don't know if you saw the...
I've not. What was it like?
Screamer. Like a curved ball from 20-25 meters away. So impressive.
What a victory. And essential. Genoa there just trying to pull away. Had they not won that, had they drawn that game, they'd only be 4 points still ahead of Fiorentina. The big game, Juventus 3, Napoli 0. Juventus potentially killing Napoli's title hopes with a very impressive display. And Roma 1, AC Milan 1. Goals there for De Winter for Milan and Pellegrini from the penalty spot for Roma. So we should really start with Juventus's victory against Napoli because Juventus have appeared frustrating at times, have appeared impressive at times, and not really sure what the real Juventus is. This was impressive.
Yeah, and which is more impressive, and I think Juve's fan will be happy about that, is that this defeat certainly puts Napoli out of the title race, because they are now 9 points away from Inter Milan. They are sitting 4th in the league. So yeah, maybe it's the end for Napoli's hope for the back-to-back.
Yeah, you got to feel sorry for them a little bit, because they have had horrific injuries the last couple of months, and they were sustaining a challenge throughout a lot of that. But in the last few weeks, it just feels like they are too light. They're out. They're out of energy. They need some freshness, and it does feel like it's finally caught up to them.
Yeah. You're totally right, and it's also important to note that they are experiencing a difficult European campaign. We've mentioned it on the last weeks, but yeah, things aren't going well for Napoli.
It may be one of those things that if they are either eliminated from the league phase or from the first knockout phase in the Champions League, that actually may allow them the opportunity to concentrate on the league and getting in the Champions League again the following year. But yeah, Juventus, great credit to them. Goals from Jonathan David, Yildiz, and Kostic in that game. Inter had a little bit of a scare. It was that first half was very fun. Pisa somehow taking a 2-goal lead. Give them credit for the bravery they showed and how they counterattacked. But Inter, I mean, yeah, just ridiculous amount of quality.
Yeah, you have said that they had a scare, and it's true, notably with the 2 mistakes by Jan Sommer. He has done some mistakes this season compared to last season, where it was terrific. Totally, we certainly remember his semi-final performance against Barcelona. But Inter against Pisa were bottom of the league. Just to recall, they quickly and recovered the 2-0 trailing. They scored 6 goals with 6 different goal scorers, which speaks volume about their attacking depth and the quality of their players. So good point. And they are the big winners of the weekend because AC Milan and Roma have drawn yesterday night. So they're now 5 points clear of the second, which are obviously their rival.
Yeah, 5 points clear of AC Milan, 9 points clear of Roma and Napoli, and 10 clear of Juventus. It is interesting, this top 6. So, for example, between Inter and Como in 6th place are 12 points. Obviously, 5 of that is from Inter to AC Milan. So there is the real fight for the European places. But then Como have a 5-point gap to Atalanta, and Atalanta now have a 5-point gap between them and Bologna, who have only picked up 4 points from their last 6 games. So it does feel like now the top 6/7, that seems to be setting now. It's more about in what order they're going to finish in. But speaking of which, looking towards the bottom of the table, Fiorentina back in the relegation zone after they lost at home to Cagliari. Cagliari, who have moved up to, what was it? 12th, I believe, 11th. So they've somehow managed to turn the tables and pull themselves away from trouble. It was a bit of an off day for Fiorentina, wasn't it? Well, I say off day in more recent terms.
Yeah, the only positive aspect for them in this defeat is that the 4 teams above them and the 2 below them didn't win either. So they are only 1 point away from Lecce. And even if they are 6 points behind Torino on the 16th place, it's not really important because they just need to surpass Lecce to stay up in Syria, and I think.
Well, you say that because, of course, do you remember me saying a few weeks ago I was worried about Cremonese, who are really falling down the table. So within 6 points, so 2 victories of Fiorentina, obviously 1 point above them of Lecce. Then there's Torino, 5 points, 6 points clear on 23, along with 4 other sides. Torino have only picked up 3 points in the last 6 games. Cremonese have only picked up 2. Lecce have only picked up 2, while Fiorentina have won a couple of games, so actually are clawing back. So it does feel like Genoa have picked up some form. Parma have had a win at 6 points, Genoa 9. So it does feel like Cremonese, Torino, Lecce, they're the ones falling down as Fiorentina recover. In your opinion, which of those sides, is it Lecce you think is the most at risk?
Yeah, I think because a 6 point gap is something is quite it could be enough for these teams. The thing is that each team, if we talk about from Cremonese to Pisa, the thing is that each team is worse than the other. So no one take points. If you just take a look at the last 5 games of these teams, you can only count 4 wins.
I was about to say that.
30 games, so it's 2-1. We will win 1 game, maybe, then it can save us or condemn them.
That's an interesting point as well. The 2 teams being Genoa and Fiorentina, which suggests they're the ones that are the upward moving.
Yeah,
and the others, you just gotta survive. We should probably park Serie A there. Lovely. All right, let's have a visit to the Bundesliga, where, believe it or not, there's actually something really interesting that happened at the top of the table. Although that didn't start on Friday because there was a 0-0 between St. Pauli and Hamburg. On Saturday, Bayer Leverkusen defeated Bremen, Werder Bremen 1-0. Then at the Allianz, Bayern won, Augsburg 2. Yes, Augsburg, the ones that were currently at the time 1 place above the relegation zone. An away victory for Augsburg. They actually came from a goal down to win as well. and they were good for it. They had more shots than Bayern, the same amount on target. Then another impressive victory for Hoffenheim. They came from a goal down at Frankfurt to win 3-1. Hoffenheim now up to third place after an incredible run of form. Heidenheim 0, RB Leipzig 3, all the goals coming in the second half. Mainz came from a goal down against Wolfsburg to win 3-1. Union Berlin 0, Borussia Dortmund 3. Another penalty for Emre Can, followed by Schlotterbeck and Bayer to give them a go. And then on Sunday, Borussia Mönchengladbach lost at home 3-0 against Stuttgart. And Freiburg to Köln won. Freiburg coming from a goal down to win there. So yeah, Bayern finally losing, first loss this season in the league. But as I said, Augsburg earned it. It wasn't lucky. They were really good.
No, they played with heart, and as you said, it was a huge surprise, given the fact that Augsburg, ranked 15th before the game, and that they were trailing at Allianz Arena. So impressive feat for them. Perhaps we can say that Bayern let their guard down a little due to the busy schedule. They had like 4 or 5 games in the space of 2 weeks. 5 games in 2 weeks, which is obviously enormous. But it doesn't explain everything. Sorry. What is, in my opinion, perhaps a shame is that even if they lost, the title race is not back on, because they will not lose 4 other games in the season. So
yeah, that's a good point. And
yeah,
and also again some context, because of course the coverage in Germany is so heavily Bayern. Obviously, they're going to criticize every little thing, regardless of the defeat. But also Bayern are going to finish in the top 2 in the Champions League. They are through to the automatically through to the next round. They are 8 points clear at the top of the Bundesliga. This season, apart from this defeat, has basically been perfect, more or less.
Yeah, the only thing is that they will not do the same thing that Bayer Leverkusen did 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, very true. But of course, that was the first time it ever happened. So there's a reason why it's so hard. Of course.
Yeah.
Hoffenheim, third place, on level on points with Stuttgart, and a game in hand, we should probably say. If they win, they'll be at that game in hand. They'll be 3 points behind Borussia Dortmund in second. A wonderful bit of momentum there. Undefeated in 5, 4 wins from those 5 games as well. They've really put the cat among the pigeons. They've really sort of taken it to Stuttgart and Leipzig and Bayer. Which of those teams do you think is most at risk of falling out of this race for the Champions League?
First, I think because Bundesliga has got 4 automatic spots for the Champions League, so Bayern will have 1. Given the table, I do think Dortmund will have 1 too, because they are now 6 points clear to Hoffenheim.
And we should also say, like, for all their faults, Dortmund have been consistent this year. They've only lost 1 game, 2 games. There is consistency.
Only one. So good season for Dortmund. So now it's only 4 points between Leverkusen and Hoffenheim. So it's 2 spots for 4 teams, because Freiburg, who are sitting 7th, they are 5 points away from Leverkusen. So it's a 4 teams battle for the Champions League.
Sorry to jump in. We should also point out that as well as Hoffenheim, Leipzig and Bayer Leverkusen have a game in hand as well. So hypothetically, if Leipzig win that game and Bayer Leverkusen, then there's 1 point that separates those 4 teams.
So I do think Leipzig will qualify, and I think Stuttgart will too.
Yeah, Stuttgart, they did have a little sticky patch, didn't they, just before the turn of the year? But they have, I think that's 6 games undefeated now. That's 4 wins from that point as well. So yeah, they seem to have refound their form. A word on 16th place Mainz. So for a long time, most of the season, Mainz have been bottom, and yet they've only had one defeat in their last 6 games, 2 victories, 3 draws, and they've now gone out of the automatic relegation spot into the playoff spot. Mainz seem to be turning it around. It really did look hopeless at one point, but they've been quite impressive. Like I say, a victory here against Wolfsburg, coming from a goal down. They're breathing. They're still in the fight. A bit like how Metz did in Ligue 1 a couple months back.
Yeah, apart from Augsburg, I think Mainz did the great coup of the weekend, because St. Pauli and Heidenheim had not won, and Mainz did for the second time in the last 3 games. They were bottom of the league before this weekend, or maybe 17th, just because of the goal differences with St. Pauli, and they are now sitting 16. A win next weekend could even make them past Bremen, Werder Bremen, because if you just take a look at the form of HSV and Bremen, they are not on Mainz 1. So
Bremen haven't won a game in, I think Bremen haven't won a match in 9 matches, something like that. Yeah, it's troubling times. Also, another relegation battle to keep your eye on, because that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 7 teams all threatened with relegation, from Wolfsburg on 19 down to Heidenheim at the bottom with 30. Great. Right. We'll say Dankeschön to the Bundesliga there, and pop off to League 1, where we have a new leader. All those cheeky little upstarts, the underdogs, Paris Saint-Germain. To get there, they also defeated hopeless Auxerre 1-0 at Auxerre. Goal coming from Barcola with about 10 minutes to go. A 1-0 victory for Paris Saint-Germain on Friday. Then on Saturday, Rennes lost at home against Lorient 2-0. Lorient actually having a fun old turn of form as well. Le Havre drew 0-0 with Monaco. Monaco's still just making us all sad. Marseille, and then the big game, Marseille against Lens. Marseille 3, Lens 1. Marseille actually took a 3-goal lead in this, with 2 goals from how do you pronounce his name? Is it Guiri? Guiri. But also from Nathan Nwaneri. He scored, 12 minutes, 13 minutes into his debut, on loan from Arsenal. And Lens got a late consolation. But very impressive victory for Marseille. And then on Sunday, you'll never guess what, Nice, what a game. That's right. They defeated Nantes, which really highlights how bad the bottom 3 are in this league. But still, Nice, they scored brilliantly. There 4 goals there. In fact, they were 3-0 up within 40 minutes. Brest lost at home against Toulouse. That's right, you Toulouse, those Brests. Metz 2, Lyon 5. A very fun game between Metz and Lyon. Another on-loan sensation, Endrick getting a hat-trick. Paris FC 0, Angers 0. And Lille lost at home against Strasbourg 4-1. Strasbourg actually being 4 goals up before a late consolation in stoppage time. So first of all, the big match that you're watching, Marseille and Lens. Was this a case of Lens finally being found out tactically because they've been so consistent or impressive, or were Marseille genuinely this impressive? Were they just? It was one of those days where everything clicked.
The thing is that Marseille got off to an impressive start against Lens with a lot of intensity, pressing, speed in their moves. They were of the season in Ligue 1. He's just 18, but he played like his opponent were maybe 12 or 13.
Can I ask, watching, how did it look with him playing with Mason Greenwood? Because on paper it suggests that they play in a similar position, but is Nwaneri being used as more of a number 10 and Greenwood as the outside player, or vice versa?
Greenwood was on the bench for this game.
Oh, okay.
Because he needed to rest. He entered the pitch in the second half, so they didn't play together.
In that case, it'd be quite interesting to see how they play with each other, because it's one of those things where they could actually dovetail and swap, because they play a similar game.
Yeah, you would ask who who is going to play like a number 10 in that team, and I think they can both do it. So Noaderi played first on the right side of the pitch, but he entered at the center of it every time. If you take a look at his goal, it's coming from the right to the center and just curved his ball to the net.
So with that, Lens lose the lead to Paris Saint-Germain. We should also point out that over the last 6 matches, Paris Saint-Germain and Lens have the same number of points. So it's just 6 games ago, Lens were 2 points behind, so it's the same now. Paris Saint-Germain, were they fortunate? Like, because it took them a long time to get to Auxerre. What was missing? What was wrong with them this time around?
No, it wasn't. They faced a great goalkeeper in the first half. They had numerous chances. Okay, they struggled to win this game, but winning at Auxerre, playing at Auxerre is never easy. But PSG, they had everything it takes to win this one. Barcola missed chances at the very beginning of the game, as usual, because he missed a lot of chances. But finally scored the winner, and that's all.
The final word then on Ligue 1. There are 3 teams who have got 15 points from their last 3 games. Paris Saint-Germain, Lens, and I'm pointing at you specifically. Lyon.
Sorry.
A wonderful return to form. So that's 4 victories on the bounce, 5 from their last 6. They've got a 4-point gap between them and Lille. And
they will play Lille next weekend.
So a win there could actually really cement their position. I was going to say the Champions League, but obviously the 4th place is a qualifier in Ligue 1.
Yeah.
But still, Lyon seem to have returned to form. Yeah, because it was concerning for a while, wasn't it? Because there are lots of draws, lots of poor performances, but they seem to have switched it on again. And what a signing Endrick's going to be.
Yeah. Endrick, we've discussed it, but I think you have to go back several years ago to find a forward as talented as Endrick at OL. Because, of course, when you talk about Lyon, you think about Alexandre Lacazette, for example. He was a great forward, a true legend at Lyon. But I think Endrick is a step above Lacazette, just in terms of talent. And it's not a surprise because he is considered as one of the 5 best wonder kids of his generation. It's not a coincidence if Real Madrid spent like 50 or 60 million euros to buy him from Palmeiras, and he will enjoy his time in Liga. I've read something about the fact that Paulo Fonseca would have asked to his management to keep Endrick on loan next season, which is, I guess, it's quite impossible because if he will not get playing time at Real Madrid, some clubs will put money on the table for him. So it's a difficult perspective. But yeah, Endrick is just so good at it. And I don't like to compare footballers, but when you know that Lyon played with Martin Satriano during the first half of the season, and now they play with Endrick, who have now scored 4 goals and assisted 1 in 3 games. He's provoking defenders, he's making deep runs, he's making everything. It's night and day to be honest, and Endrick is a great addition to that squad.
And also good for him because we were talking about the fact that it seems quite almost cruel that he didn't get more game time at Real Madrid, considering
99 minutes.
It didn't seem also like some of the players ahead of him because he could also come off the right, which is actually a position where you feel like you really could have done more. Fantastic. Let's leave the league there and move on to the 3 things you may have missed this week. Oh, we got a message from Josh. Hi, guys. Interested to hear your thoughts on this Serie A race. As a Milanisti, all I hear is people saying that due to the lack of European competition this year, we are title favourites. Well, I suppose it's the word favourites. It's good timing. I think back to that said, we don't have the depth or quality of Inter. Nowhere close in my eyes. Am I wrong to think we never actually had a true chance to keep up with our cousins and win a Scudetto? Well, I think back to when Antonio Conte took over Chelsea. That sticks in my head because, of course, Chelsea would have been challenging for the league anyway. It's just that they didn't have any European football that year. So having a new manager with no midweek games allows that extra time for tactical preparation and gives you an edge and an advantage in the same way that Inter having a large squad gives them an advantage. So the idea being that actually the two would sort of not nullify the other, but each works, like, gives them an edge over their competitors. I certainly thought Napoli would struggle eventually. I obviously didn't predict this injury crisis, but it did feel like Inter had the squad to deal with it, and Napoli had just purchased this squad that could deal with it, whereas AC Milan, it's the extra time. I suppose the big disappointing thing was, like, earlier on, there were a lot more draws than victories, because really AC Milan could have still been in the lead had it not been for just failing to defeat teams in the bottom half. Yeah. What were your thoughts, Leo?
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you have said, especially since Milan, if you just take a look at their results, they have only lost one game this season against Cremonese on the opening day of Serie A. So it's hard for them, obviously, not to have to play European football helps every teams, but I do think Inter Milan are just not untouchable, but they have won the games they needed to win, except from the derby, because they lost to AC Milan in the first half of the season. But
we should probably also, sorry to interrupt, we should probably also mention that Santiago Gimenez, got a substantial injury, obviously, a couple of months back. So therefore, that not having that level of striker available is going to impact a team who have had to sell players, for example, to balance the books. I think that probably the term is like the fact that favourites. They probably weren't favourites. What they were considered title contenders because of the lack of European football, especially. Right, yes, but we do need to bring this to a close shortly. So the three things. What do you have to share with us that we may have missed?
The thing is that we will stay in Italia, but going to the fourth division in Serie D. I don't know if you saw that. It was announced last week. But Douglas Costa, former Juventus, former Bayern Munich, and Brazilian international, he's 35 and he has signed with a legendary club in Italia, with Chievo Verona. So it's one of the peculiar signing of the winter transfer window.
Oh, that's very fun. Well, I'm going to get your gaze towards the Women's Super League, the WSL. The last 6 seasons have been won by Chelsea, and it looks like finally that's going to end. Chelsea lost at home against Arsenal 2-0 this past weekend, which means that Manchester City are now 9 points clear of Arsenal, with 11 games to go, but also that is a big gap. So yeah, it looks like there's going to be a new champion at last after a long wait in the WSL. Anything else for you?
The last thing I've noted is that Barcelona, it's a good news for Barcelona supporters, because the club have announced that it will hold discussions with the various supporters group regarding their return to the Camp Nou, because if you forgot, they are in conflict with the club's management, the groups of fans, because they suspended them for inappropriate behavior. So if something could happen on that point, it would be good, because a great club like Barcelona needs their supporters.
Right, the trivial trivia. Now, mine is slightly outdated. This is the one I did last week, which I didn't get to do. So this is a true of last weekend. So you have to keep that in mind, I'm afraid. So my question for you, Leo, was going to be this. How many players across the top 5 European leagues? How many players have scored more than 10 goals?
So wait, in France we have. I don't think it's a lot.
I think
I
in
would go
France
with
there is. I think in France
Yeah.
there's only 2.
Mason Greenwood and Panicelli.
Yep, 2.
Yeah,
That's 2.
that's
Okay,
two.
So what's the
Is-
so what do you think the answer is? It's a surprisingly low number.
Yeah, I would go with between 8 and 10 because I know in La Liga it's 3, maybe.
Mhm. You're very close. It's 11. Well, as of last weekend,
Okay.
it was 11. Yeah. Do you want to have a quick go at guessing them? So we know the top 3. Haaland has 20, or
Yeah.
had again from the last weekend. Harry Kane had 20, and Mbappe, I suppose now he has 20. So that's fun. Actually, a good race for the Golden Boot. But they're the top 3. Okay, so you've got those 3 and Mason Greenwood and Panicelli. So you've got 6 more to go.
Vedat Muriqi from Mallorca.
Absolutely. He's up to 14, I believe.
Yeah. In Serie A, Lautaro Martinez.
He's on 11.
Can you just tell me in which?
Absolutely. I'll tell you
league?
what. Okay, so there are 2 from the Premier League, 1 in the Bundesliga.
Ferran Torres from Barcelona.
Yes, that was the other one in La Liga.
Yeah.
So you got 2 Premier Leagues and 1 Bundesliga.
Igor Thiago.
Yep, he's 4th.
Brentford.
4th place
Yeah.
for Igor Thiago
Yeah.
in all of the European leagues, which means you've got 2 left.
Antoine Semenyo.
Yes, well done. He's on fire. He's got 1 more to get.
And in which league?
Bundesliga.
I think it's wait. No,
Now, keep in mind,
It's not-
you've not paused before you do this. You've not had a wrong answer yet. He's going for
don't
the
put
Queen's
pressure
Suite.
on me. No, I don't really know. I think it's could it be Jan Diomande from Leipzig? No, he is
it's
not.
a good guess. No, it's a different Champions League chasing team.
En
Stuttgart.
fait, not Denis Undav, but
Undav.
Undav. Okay.
Undav. Yeah. Undav, I think he's up to 11 as well. But yes, so yeah, actually surprisingly low numbers. So only 11 players
Yeah.
as of last weekend having scored double digits. But yeah, that brings us to the end of the European
I got
Soccer Show.
one question for you.
Sir. Oh my goodness. Sorry.
Because I know it's you. I point you with my fingers, but I know it's your it's your game. So, do you know which team? It's a second division. It's in the second division leagues. Do you know which team at the bottom of its league has the biggest points gap to the team above them?
Well, my guess would be Sheffield Wednesday in the Championship, but they've been deducted.
Yeah,
points.
you are just too good at it.
No, but that's not fair. They've gone into administration. They've been deducted like 18 points or something like that.
They are 34 points behind Oxford United.
Yeah, but yeah, that was that. Yeah. Oh, actually, before we go, just a quick update. If you're interested, bottom of the Portuguese Primeira, AVS, the only team in the top 10, top 20 European leagues yet to win a match. They drew. They just drew again. They had a chance to win against a team 2 places above. They missed it, so it might be another few weeks before. But that's the update for AVS. In case you don't know.
For every week we will do an update.
Yes,
about
I'll try.
AVS.
We'll have a little bit in the program on the side. It's like what happened to AVS. Right. Thank you so much for joining us for the European Soccer Show. And hey, we had another friend join us. That was fun. But speaking of friends, thank you so much, Leo. Merci beaucoup.
You're welcome. De rien. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you to everyone who watched the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Participate.
And if you are joining in live as we live stream, feel free to send messages that we had earlier. We'd be happy to respond. We've been so social today. It's been fantastic.
You can watch again the show on YouTube we will post it in the next hours. So
Yeah, it's good to say. Speaking of socials, don't forget all the disgusting things down there. We got X, YouTube, and so on and so on. That's right. Really sell your soul and get in there. Until next week, make sure you join in for what? Join in. Make sure you pay attention for midweek because it's the last round of Champions League matches. It's impossible to follow that many matches in one go, but we'll give it a go anyway. But yes, in the meantime, have a wonderful week, everybody. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.